All right, so today we are going to go through our tutorial for our mini design project 2, the Easy Peasy phone holder. And what I'm going to do first is just click through some of the processes we'll be focusing on for this demonstration. And this lesson will be recorded and put up exactly as is for you guys, so you can go back and reference it as well. So here we're going to go over our learning intentions. So this is the form you can see on the right. It's a simple 3D modeling form, so we're going to be going through focusing on pretty simple processes. We're not going to be relying on a sketch. We're going to be relying on measurement. So simple modeling techniques. We're going to be doing one sketch and one extrude. We're going to be doing a chamfer and things like that as well. Also within this package of learning, it won't be in this video, but we will be going through industrial design sketching techniques. I'll put up a separate video for that as well. We're going to be making annotated plan drawings as well. So it'll be like the classic top, front, side view, isometric view with annotations on measurements, as well as design features that you decide to put in as well. With that software you just downloaded, we're going to be learning to slice our own 3D models. And for this one, we're going to be removing completely the top and bottom layers, so we can actually use the honeycomb infill as like an aesthetic choice. And so if you want to see the finished part, it's up here. I'm just holding it up now. If you're a beginner, I'm going to recommend that you don't do the more advanced functions here. So if you look underneath, I've taken the basic model that's another design that a designer's made on the internet, and I've put in like a cable management system on the back there, so you can plug your phone in and charge it while you're putting your phone on your phone holder. Do that if you feel comfortable doing it, but again, we only have 2 weeks, and there's a lot of documentation you need to do for your folio that aligns with this task as well. Okay. So tools and processes, we'll be doing basic sketching, and we'll also be learning how to fully constrain our drawing. Okay, so when we do a drawing, I'll be showing you some other little tricks there, so please do pay attention. Sorry, this extrude is incorrect. We'll be extruding to the length, sorry, the width of our phone. So you might need to do a measurement of your phone to make it, to order or custom for your phone. We'll be adding a bit of text. We drew a lot of our text because we were focusing on a sketch process for the last lesson, for the last project, sorry. At this time, I'll show you how to actually type in and 3D print in text for yourself, so I'll be doing that too. In terms of processes, we'll be doing engineering drawing, so after we've finished our model, we'll make an engineering drawing out of our work. We'll be doing the constraints, as I said before, and we'll also be slicing our model. So success criteria, it'll be made to the dimensions of your phone. Your phone will have text added to a surface. Other additions, for those of you who are more advanced, I'm happy to talk about that as well. And you'll have to slice and print this yourself, okay? So let me go on to Fusion. So here, I'll show you what the finished version looks like. And this is with the text in as well. So I've gone onto this surface and I've just written green charger on there. And that's like a text reference as well. And what you can do with this is extrude it like anything else. But I'll get to that in a bit. So I'm going to move on to a blank design, and we're going to set about doing this ourselves. Okay. So this is going to be printed on its side. So we want that honeycomb to be kind of going in that dimension as well, so going vertically. We also have some cool filaments for you to use. If you notice, this one's a color shifting filament, so on the back it's gray, on the front it's green, and it kind of changes color as you look around it. It's pretty cool. So yeah, without further ado, we'll get into it, okay? So turn on your origins, and we're going to select this side plane here, so that the plane going this way. You don't have to follow along, everyone. I would actually recommend that you just watch and soak it up, because this will be put back up as a resource for you to follow along with. You can replay this as many times as you want. So I'm going to add a sketch here, and I'm going to do a corner rectangle. Okay, so this little thing up here, 2-point rectangle. And I'm actually going to start from the origin and go up towards the right. And I'm going to go to 100 by 100 millimeters. So what I'll do here is just show you a little trick. If you want to reference other parts of your drawing, so here, I don't want you guys following along. I'd much prefer you just watch. Okay, so I'm going to be showing you a few different shortcuts here. Okay, so if I press on D, it'll go to my dimension shortcut. Okay, so D is a way of dimensioning your drawings. Okay, so here I want this to be 100, right? But at the moment it's 87 point something. Okay, so I'm going to type in 100. Now in this sketch, if I always want this measurement and this measurement here to be the same, I can do this. So I'll reference out here, and then with this, I'll just click on this one. So with that selected, just click on that, and it'll reference D1, and it'll automatically go to 100. So if I go here and change this to 50, the other side will go to 50 as well. You can do a center rectangle, which will do that for you as well. But just a way to kind of make little, well, it's 10, not 100, just a little way to make things easier for yourself. Now I'm going to go to the L tool, the line tool, and that's the only sketching tool I'm going to be using for this particular thing. So it's going to be the dimensioning tool and the line tool. Okay. So what I'm going to do here to make sure I don't put in constraints that I don't need, I'm actually going to turn off snap to grid. Okay, I don't want it to snap to these little bits in between, because that will set a constraint that I don't want. All right, I want to go in and just put in my basic form, and then I'm going to go back over it and constrain it fully. You'll notice here, I'll show you the difference between unconstrained and constrained lines. Unconstrained means that you can move them around and fully manipulate them. Fully constrained means it's set and you can't really move it unless you change the references associated with that. So the phone holder here, you can see that basic form there. So I'm going to go down to there and up to there. All right, and that's pretty much it. You'll notice this line's blue, this line's black. Unconstrained, fully constrained. So if I go back to my D shortcut, dimension, it's also up here, sketch dimension, and the shortcut you can see there in that little tooltip. So what I'm going to do here is dimension this to this. Okay, I'm going to make that 30. I'm going to dimension this down to here. I'm going to make that 20. I'm going to dimension this to here. I'm going to make that 40. Is it 40 or 30? Yeah, 40. And then I'm going to dimension this to here, and I'm going to make that 20. What do you notice about how the sketch has changed? It's all black, yeah? Where that blue line was blue, it's now all black. And this one actually needs to be 40 as well, I'm pretty sure. It's not looking right. Yeah, that's better. Okay, and that's all the sketching that I'm going to do. I've got my box, and there'll be 2 sections in it. So I've got one section here and one section here when I use my select tool, yeah? So I'm going to go to finish sketch. Okay, and that's sitting there as a reference. Now, all I want to do here is extrude this out, okay? So I'm going to take my phone, I'm going to take a ruler. So the iPhone 14 is 75 millimeters across, okay? So to give it a little bit of room, I'm going to make mine 80 millimeters across. So your phones will be more or less the same dimensions as well. So rulers are available in that front cupboard up there. So I'm going to select that, and I'm going to extrude this out. So I'm going to hit the extrude button. When I go to extrude it, I'm going to go symmetrically, okay? So you can do different types of extrudes. You can pull one side out more than the other. That's the 2-side extrusion. What we've done with the name tag is a 1-sided extrusion. So we're going to go symmetric. Here is the measurement that I'm using. So it's asking me if I want to do a half length measurement or a full length measurement. So I'm going to go full length and type in 80. Okay, and that's my 80 wide. If I use the half length, it's going to put 80 on each side, and that's not what I want. And that's it. I'm going to put that in as a new body and go OK. After that, the sketch will disappear automatically. If I want to make that sketch reappear, I just go back here and make it visible, but I don't need that anymore. Now what I'm going to do is go to the fillet tool. So shortcut F, or you can just click on the fillet tool. And I'm going to go through. Fillets work on edges. We're going to be doing two different types of modifications here. Fillets work on edges. So I'm going to select all the edges that I want to change, and I'm going to put a 10mm radius round on each of those, radius fillet on each of those corners. I'll show you what I mean. So I'm holding down my control key, and I'm clicking on all of these edges that run in this direction, except for this one. Okay, so I've got all those references selected in blue, and I'm going to type in 10. Okay, so straight away it's starting to look a little bit more like a phone holder. I'm going to go back to my F for fillet, and I'm going to put a 2mm fillet here. Okay, I can also go back. I'll just show you another little method of doing it while I'm here. If I go back and edit that feature, you can go down here to this fillet menu, go add, and it'll start you off on a new fillet, and I can make that a different measurement to all the other fillets in that particular one. All right, last thing I'm going to do is a chamfer. This is for the basic version. And I'm going to do the same thing. Select one edge, that goes all the way around, and another edge here. Okay, and this is going to be a 2mm chamfer. Okay, this whole design is made in a way that it doesn't need supports at all. Okay, so it's a support-free print. If you wanted to, you could make this. I'm not going to make it 23mm. You can make it 3mm if you want to. Just keep in mind that you're subtracting 3mm from each side, and it might go further than your phone's width. So yeah, I'll go 2. And leave it at that. All right, and that is the basic form of your phone holder. I'll show you the basic way to get the little charging, point into it. That's an extension activity. It's not required. But here, so what I'm going to do essentially is sketch onto two surfaces. I'm going to select this surface as a reference and this surface as a reference and do two sketches. Okay. So here, I'm going to sketch onto there. And I'm going to draw a triangle here at 45 degrees. The reason I'm doing it at 45 degrees is so the hole doesn't need any supports. If I do a square hole or a circular hole, the 3D printer is going to want to print supports all the way through that hole. So if you make holes in a certain way, you should be okay. So I'm going to select the depth that I want my hole to go to, keeping in mind that I want it to be wide enough to fit my little charging cable up through, all right? So to do that, I'm going to draw some construction lines for myself. So all the lines I've used up until this point are solid lines. Construction lines you can think of as like scaffolding or framework that you can use as a reference. Okay. So I'll go here. And at this point, I'm going to turn on Snap to Grid again because I do need those grid points for myself. All right, so that's 10mm wide by 6mm deep. Okay. I'll leave that there. Then I'm going to turn off sketching mode, go to my line tool, use this as a reference, and this is where I do my 45-degree line. Okay. So this is like a coordinate style, so it may not say 45 degrees, but here on that right side, 45. And I'm just going to let that go. If someone could get that for me, that'd be great. All right, so I've got my 45-degree line. The idea is I want to make a triangle here. Hi, who do you need? Dash. Okay, then I'm going to go to the other reference point on the side here. And you'll notice this is at 90 degrees. When you see the angle, it's at 90 degrees. I'm not going to worry about measuring that specifically because I'll use my trim tool to trim out the excess. Okay. Last thing I need to do is put a line here, and to check that it's actually something I can extrude, I'm going to make sure that that area is selectable, okay? I'll finish that sketch. Hopefully that's big enough. I'd say maybe even making that 15 would be good. So what I might do, I'll see if this works. I'm going to go back to dimension. I'll dimension here to here, and I'll change that to 15. It's gone on the side. I'll leave it at 10. Okay. Now here I'm going to take that area and go to extrude, and then all I'm going to do here is under extent type, I'm going to go through all. All right. So it's just going on in that direction through everything that's in the way. Okay, and it's going down to the bottom there. All right, so that's one little hole there. Now what I'm going to do here is what they call projection. So it's another little technique you can use. And again, I'll say it at this point in the video, only do this if you're more of an advanced user and you want the challenge. Otherwise, stick to the basic form, print that, easy peasy phone holder. Okay, so on the back here, I'm going to add another sketch. And I'm going to reference some of these measurements here onto this sketch plane. So I've made a sketch plane here, but then there's stuff over here that I want to use as a reference to my sketch, right? So I'm going to use this tool under here, Project Include. Really, really nifty tool. So I'm going to go Project, and I'm going to select the edges that I want projected to this sketch plane. So I want that one, and you'll see the little purple lines come up there, and I also want this vertical. And what I'll be able to do now is use these as references in that new sketch. Okay, I'll go OK on that. To turn any sketch towards you so you can work on it properly, just click on that Look At button. And yeah, we'll go through and make our little area here. So I'll hit Tab and go 45 degrees. And I'll go back to here as well, 90 degrees. Do the same thing I did before with the other triangle I drew. Trim out the top parts, finish off the bottom, finish that sketch. Here, because there's a reference line going down the middle, I have to hold down Control and select both of those areas to extrude them as one. Okay, then I'm going to go Extrude, and then under the extent type, I'm going to go to Object, and then I'm going to navigate around and just click this inside edge here. And that should go through in the way that I want it to. Yep, so that's gone all the way through there. See? So now I've got a little path for my cord to go in. All right, you can do other things. I won't do it here, but you can do other things to kind of keep your cable locked in and stuff like that as well. I won't do that right now. One other thing that we might run into that might be a bit of a challenge is the cable needs to turn quite sharply here. So for the health of our cable, we might put in some more chamfers. So I'll go here and here. And you can also grab this arrow and move this down. Okay, and all this is doing is putting in a little extra angle so that the cable has a bit more room to move in that area. Okay, it does expand that the size of that hole there, and that's fine. We're not really going to see it. The top's still good. So I'll make it like that, and that's pretty much it. I'll home my view, and that's our thing. That's our phone holder there, pretty much done. So from here, I am going to go to the drawing function. So with that design open, I'm going to go to Design and Drawing from Design. I'll do that once again. I'll do that a bit quick. So go to the Design tab up here, go down to Drawing, and then From Design. You need to save it before you can make a drawing out of it. This is V3, I think, for me. And I'll save that. And when you do a drawing, it'll open up a new tab and it'll ask you for some input there as well. So this is going to be a full assembly drawing. So we'll go down this menu here, full assembly, create new, from scratch, standard, ISO, millimeter units. You can make this A3 or A4, it's up to you. It's going to be the same, it's going to look the same anyway. I'll make mine A4 and you just go OK. And what we're going to do here is we're going to put down base views, okay? So we're going to do front, top, side, and then we're going to finally project an isometric view, a little bit of annotation, and then we'll move on from there. I know this is a lot in a lesson, but the idea is you use this in your video and you can pause and change and go back and forth and things like that. Okay, so this is the base view. This is the front view. So I'll change the scale initially. I want this to be about 2 to 3 times bigger. So you'll notice here is a scale, as a ratio, yeah? So if I change this to 1 to 2, 1:2, that's a good size, okay? You can make it smaller if you want to fit more annotations in. I'll go 1 to 2. Then what I'm going to do here, so that's a base view. You can put down any base view you want. You can make it any orientation you want. So you can even make a base view isometric from any direction that you want, okay? To make the isometric view of the phone holder in the presentation slide, I just did an isometric view as a base view. Okay, I'm going to put that down. It's going to come up as a line drawing, okay? So if you want to change anything about this, you can put it in as shaded. You can put it in as whatever you want. Just double click and you'll get those settings back. Okay, so I'll close that. And now I'm going to go to projected view. So I'm going to go here and this will automatically project off to the side view, yeah? I'll go green tick on that. I'll go projected view again. This is going from the top. And I think my ratio is probably a little bit too big. So I might go in and change all these down to like 1 to 4. 1 to 3 maybe. Yeah, that's good. Cool. So when you change one, all of them will change as well. And then finally, I'm going to go to an auxiliary view. You could also put in a base view and go isometric. And you'll see as you select each one, it'll change. You can put in one like that. And then you could make that 1 to 2 as well. You can move these around. And it'll always go kind of together in line because they are projected views. This one I'll go okay. This one I might move up a little bit. Cool. And this one here, I'm going to make that fully shaded. All right, so position using the move tool. And then here I'm going to start annotating some dimensions, okay? You will need to do this at certain points. And in your folio, it's excellent practice to communicate the dimensions that you're working with, okay? And other design features. They call this a design factors breakdown in the folio, okay? So it's where you really kind of point out clearly what it is you're about to start designing and experimenting with. So here, I'm going to right click and go to annotation, just here. I'm going to go linear dimension. All right, so I'm going to go far side to far side, and that's 80. Over here, I can do another linear dimension. I'll go here to here. That's 100. All of those dimensions that we put in our first drawing should be visible here. And there might be some other dimensions that we didn't necessarily constrain ourselves. So right click, annotation, dimension. I think that's pretty much it. Or maybe along the bottom there. Okay, then I'll show you how to do text annotations and then we'll move on to slicing. Okay, so those are some basic annotations there of measurements. Now what we can do here is start to annotate some of the design features. Okay, so you can put in angles and stuff as well if you want to. There's different ways to annotate that too. So I'll just do this design feature here, right click. Where's my annotation? So I'll go annotation, I'll go note, and I'll attach it to here. Oops. What we call it, charging cable hole, I guess. So you can annotate that there, and any other features to your design you can annotate as well. Okay. The great thing about this is to export it, you just go PDF, and it'll create a beautifully drawn, accurate PDF for you as well. Okay. Right, you can save that. What I will do, one thing I forgot was to go back and do the text. So if you look at this one, you'll see I've got my name there. I'll show you how to do that quickly. So what I'm going to do here is quickly draw in a circle because I want my text to go on a path. You can draw in other lines as well. You can also just make your text a block. But I'm going to draw a circle in the middle here. I'm going to make it 35 millimeters. Leave that at that. Then while I'm still in sketch mode, I'm going to go down to create and text. And you'll see the text type, just normal text or text on a path. I'm going to go text on a path. Some of you will hate me that I didn't tell you this earlier when you were doing your name tag, but you know, I can take that. You can pick your font. And when you're picking this font, just make sure that it remains 3D printable, like something that has a bit of solid volume to it. So what did I choose before? Something slightly fancy that I wasn't sure would actually print. I might just stick with a reliable Arial. Okay. You can put your name on it. And it should go around the top evenly like that. You can add more text to it. So you can change the size of your text by changing the height of it. So if I put in 5, it'll go smaller. But 10 seems to be the right one. You can change it to being on top or below the reference line. You can flip it, so mirror it or something like that. If you're making a mold, using mirrored text would be really useful there as well. You can also align your text too with that tool. So it's pretty much like a Word doc typing tool in Fusion. Okay, and after you finish that sketch, you can then extrude that in like anything else. So what I would recommend is just going extrude and type in something like -0.5. So you want to, it's actually not an extrude, it's an intrude. So you go OK, and there's just that little indentation in the back of your phone holder there. Okay. This is FlashForge. So what I'm going to do quickly is jump back to Fusion, export my STL, and then we'll take it from there. I know we only have a few minutes to do this, but this shouldn't take very long. Okay, so to Fusion. Right-click on the top of your model tree, save as mesh. I showed a lot of you this last lesson. STL binary, millimeter, high refinement is all there. Sometimes it might be set as like 3MF or something. So STL binary, millimeter, high refinement, okay. Save it to, make sure you have saved to my computer and save it to your downloads. After you do that, you can drag it to the Google Drive system or whatever we have. Okay. Then I will go to FlashForge and I'll go File, Load, and I'll go to my downloads You should see your file there at the top. Okay, and there it is. That's how it should look on the printer. We need to reorient this, so I'm going to do that quickly. On its side. You can move it around the Z-axis as well. So all of these tools here, you've got move, rotate, scale. So that's if you've made something undersized or oversized, you can always bring it down to the right proportion. But all I'm going to do here is rotate. Okay, I might just rotate it around a little bit. The printers that we mainly use under machine type are the guided 2S. They're our large printers. We're about to have the Finder 3s here in the room and the Inventor 2 series as well. Okay, so I'm going to use guided 2S this time, and then I'm going to go to start slicing. All right, so you'll probably have this set as default, but we're going to go straight into expert mode here. Okay, because we need to change some settings. So all we're going to do is mess with the shells. We're going to go 2 shells. We're going to go infill. This is important. No top or bottom layers. Fill density 10%. Fill pattern hexagon. We don't need supports. Raft should be off, and that should be it. Okay, so I'll go over that again. These temperature settings, you can keep that. 210-50 is pretty good. Don't worry about general, just shells and infill. So 2 shells on the outside, and then infill, no top or bottom layers, and 10% fill. Okay, so after I slice that, it'll start looking a lot more like the finished version. Okay, so here you can't see too much happening, but if I go to slice preview, you can see it looking just like that finished product. Okay, so if you look at this key over here, you'll see it's like you'll see what means what. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. So what you'll mainly do is you'll go save, you'll download this file as a GX to your downloads, and then you'll put that on a USB and go and take it over to the printers and print from the USB because all the settings are in, okay? So that's pretty much what we're going to do in terms of our process. There's the folio to go over as well, which I'll get into next lesson, as well as the sketching techniques too, all right? So save that there, download it, and that's pretty much it, guys. Okay, stick around if you have any questions. Otherwise, I'll catch you next lesson.